there was this progression of importance that was applied to the COTS program into its ultimate success. Part of that was an acknowledgement early on that this could fail, and that would be okay. I think at the end of COTS, you didn't have that same mindset. These things needed to be successful. Had we had that same mindset, sort of the 8 years later mindset at the beginning, I'm not so sure we would be successful. When you enter into these sorts of partnerships that are potentially a little more, they have a little more risk inherent. You have financial risk, you have market risk. We don't have market risk in our NASA programs, right? So you automatically have another element of risk that we're not used to dealing with and really have almost no ability to mitigate. We can't mitigate a market situation at all. We can just do what we're doing at NASA. So I think that's also important. When you're starting out, there needs to be a tolerance for failure. If there's no tolerance for failure, and this thing is critically important, I wouldn't advocate using a partnership, no matter how positive I feel about those. I feel like that's inherently something that's going to make the partnership break at some point during its execution. So the fact that it was sort of this backup, the fact that it was sort of this bet or gamble, inherent in that came an acknowledgement that it could fail, and that wouldn't put NASA or our goals necessarily at risk. We had other means of doing this. And so the fact that there was this progression of importance on the success, I think, was important. And had we had the same mindset at the end of COTS that we had at the beginning, it would have been a very, very different prospect. I'm not so sure if we would have been successful. So I think we kind of got lucky in that we didn't have this so critical in the beginning, and maybe we wouldn't have done it that way. But the fact that it was gradual, and the fact that COTS was able to handle that eventuality, in that we were able to show that we were making progress, these milestone payments and the milestone accomplishments became very important in giving NASA the confidence that our private sector partners could succeed, are succeeding, are doing what they need to be doing. So that gave us sort of incremental yeses, like incremental confidences. Like, they weren't big. It was just like a milestone review or a CDR or a TIM that was successful, but we were knocking them down as we were going. So it was aligned that our progress sort of went forward with the increase in importance. And had we not had that, both going at about the same rate, we could have had a big problem, right? If we'd had the importance be so much bigger before the progress, would have been difficult, right? But the fact that our progress kept going, we kept succeeding, our partners kept hitting their milestones. Yes, there were some scheduled delays, but there was no fundamental break after we got through RPK. Our partners were making technical progress. It was taking a little bit longer than they had originally proposed, but that didn't mean it couldn't be accomplished. And so the fact that those went hand in hand, as the increased importance got bigger, the fact that we had some accomplishments, and then we had a test flight that was successful, that was huge. And then we had other test flights that were also successful, and then the ultimate birthing of both the Dragon and Cygnus, which was just unbelievably gratifying. After all this hard work, it was just tremendous to have that kind of thing happen. It was just excellent. One of the highlights of my career, obviously.